Welcome to the Marble Sports Worldwide Podcast, where we discuss and analyze your favorite marble sports. From JMR Marble League to I'll Go Do tournaments, we'll make sure you never miss the action. All marble sports, all the time, right here on the MSW Podcast.
Now let's record. There we go. Now we're good. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's podcasting how it's supposed to be podcasting.
All right, I'm also recording, so I'll sing us again.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
All right. Good. We're good now. We're good. We're here. We're ready. All right. Give me a couple seconds, and I'll bring us into the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Marble Sports Worldwide Podcast. My name is Brendan.
And I'm Commander Wolf.
And I had a boring last week, but a couple interesting things, I guess. So we put our Christmas tree up in the living room. And our Christmas tree is weird because it always seems to have, like, plugs on it that don't go anywhere. Because the way it works, it's a tree that has the lights built into it already. You know, they were trying to be cool and, you know, keep you from having to string the lights yourself. But so, like, you know, each of the different sections of the tree, it's a fake tree, of course, has lights strung in with little wires sticking out. And so, you know, you plug them in. You plug them in from the top into the middle into the bottom. But I don't know, we must have messed something up or something over the last few years, but there's always, like, plugs that go to nowhere. There's always way too many of, like, the, I guess, the female plugs and not enough of the male ones or whatever. And we just never can figure out what the hell's going on with the tree. We end up just stringing our own lights on anyway. So we put that tree up, and we struggled with that again. I don't know why it doesn't work. We never, like, took anything out. It just came wrong, I guess. But that tree's up, and then I saw a good movie. I saw Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade this weekend. I've never seen that movie. I've always wanted to see that movie, because that movie has my favorite scene in TV, or one of my favorite scenes in TV, and that is the scene. Okay, so the movie's about Indiana Jones tries to find the Holy Grail. So he gets to the place where the Holy Grail is, which is the cup that Jesus drank from on the Last Supper. If you don't know, if you haven't heard of it, so he gets there. And he's in the little temple thingy or whatever, and he gets into the final room that has the Holy Grail in it, and there's this knight there. It's like a mortal knight, because if you drink from the Holy Grail, you live forever, ever. So this knight was there. He lived forever because he drank, and he had to protect the cup. And he's there, and there's a whole bunch of cups on the table, right? There's a whole bunch of cups, different ones, like gold ones, big ones, silver ones with jewels all over them. And the knight says to him, the final test is you have to choose the correct cup from all these cups for what would be the true Holy Grail. And I love that scene because the answer is not any of the shiny cups, any of the diamond-studded cups. No, it's the simple cup. Actually, I think it's made of wood because Jesus was a carpenter. And it was a simple man. So it ended up being the simplest, dirtiest-looking cup. Sorry, out there on the table. So I love that scene so much. That scene has been redone in a lot of TV shows, just to nod to the movie. Like, I think in Regular Show, I used to watch that a long time ago. They did a remake of it. I think Family Guy probably did. So I don't know. I love that scene. One of my favorite scenes. So that's the two things that happened to me. Wow, anything interesting?
Nothing in particular that I can think of. It's just been kind of a fairly boring week. I've just been cruising along. Got an exam later today, as of the day that we're recording this, at least. So I gotta deal with that. But you know, it's like, other than that, I'm just trying to get ready for Christmas, get people gifts, all that stuff. Like, that's really it.
All right, that sounds good. Getting into the Christmas spirit, guys. Getting into the Christmas marble spirit, whatever that would be. I don't know. Marbles celebrate Christmas? I don't know. Or they just race right through it? I don't know. I wonder if we'll take a week off, if JMR will take a week off for Christmas or not. I guess we'll find out, but we'll see if they honor it, give the Marbles a week off, a chance to spend time with their Marble families, whatever that would look like. But that's enough intro for the day. Let's head to the news with Johnny Marble, and when we come back, we got a lot of Marble sports to talk about. Race 5 of Marbula 1 coming up right after this.
Hello, Marble sports fans! I am Johnny Marble, and as always, I'm coming to you for MSW. Let's get right into the news. Race 5 of Marbula 1, the Turnpike Grand Prix, was the most unique track yet, with several different kinds of turns that helped really mix it up and the positions throughout it. But before the race could begin, Greg Woods himself decided to test out the track, showing that he's got some racing skills of his own out there. After he returned to the booth, the race could finally get underway. But hey, Greg, if you want to race ever, Johnny Marble, I may be retired, but I'll get in there with you. Anyways, on with the news. The battle for first was truly fierce, with several marbles claiming the first position throughout it, and after 16 challenging laps, Hazy took first, followed by Bolton second, and Limeline taking third home. In other news, Race 8 of NASMARB, the MSWP 500 at the Mayhem Superspeedway, marked the final race of Season 1, and the last chance for the racers to get points for the playoffs. Things were off to a really bad start for the MSW teams, with both Splitzer and Quillo losing in the first round, leaving their chances to go on to playoffs up in the air. On a more positive note, though, the final round was truly spectacular and unpredictable. At first, Prime was dominating the finals and looked as though they were going to achieve a clean sweep. But Murakami came through out of nowhere and started to challenge them for the gold. In the final run, it seemed as though Prime had the victory in the bag. But after spinning out near the end, Murakami was able to zoom on by and narrowly achieving victory, leaving Prime with second and Sal with third. And with the end of the main season, the playoffs can begin, but only 12 will be moving on. Those who win a race automatically qualify, and they are Streamer, Lemon Drizzle, Woodpecker, Electro, Prime, and Murakami. This left only 6 places for the highest scoring racers this season, and unfortunately, Spitzer was not one of them. But hey, you did us proud, so don't be ashamed of that. And while they had a great start to the season, they started to fall apart towards the end, finishing in 16th overall. The next 5 racers were revealed to be Mozilla, Bloodstorm, Oak, Winx, and Sal. The last spot was between Quillo and Confetti, and while it was close, Confetti did beat out Quillo by 4 points, narrowly making it into 17th or 12th place. I'm sorry. It's a shame that none of the MSW teams will be making the playoffs this season, but we still wish the Marbles who are moving on the best of luck. Well, guys, that was a lot of news. I may have messed up a couple times, but hey, you still love me and I still love you. Anyways, I have been Johnny Marble, and you, dear listener, have been the best fan in the world. You can quote me on that. Put me on the resume. Let's kick it on back and continue on with the podcast.
Welcome back from the news, everybody. Thank you, Johnny Marble, for bringing us the news of this week about the Tumult Turnpike and the racing that's happened there. And we are bringing you episode 78 of the show. And before we dive into the show, let me remind you, please, to email us each week at mswpodcast@gmail.com. That's mswpodcast@gmail.com. Email us about anything about marbles, questions, opinions, whatever, advice, whatever. You email us. We'll read it here on the show. We love to connect with you guys, whether it's about marbles or not, to continue to build this podcast community here at MSW. So now that I've said that, let's dive into the episode. A lot to talk about today, and we're going to be focusing a good portion of the episode on the design of this track. But before we dive into that, let's welcome today's guest, Victor from the JMR server. Victor.
Hi,
Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone. What's up, I guess?
Glad to have you on the show.
Thanks.
Now, we always do this. Every time we have a first-time guest on, we ask a very important question. And you guys know it at this point if you've been listening for a while. And Waff and me are going to try to say it at the same time and fail. So let's say it at the same time. Say it with me, guys. Big question for Victor. How did you get into
Marble Sports?
Oh, always off sync, but tell us.
The actually on the sync on my end. But okay.
Was YouTube recommended back in 2017.
All right, yeah. So you've been here for about 4 years watching, though, right?
Yeah, I've been here a while. Ups and downs, of course.
And do you have a favorite team? Do you have a favorite event?
Yeah, my favorite team is Team Galactica. My favorite event is actually quite hard because there's so many good ones, you know.
Yeah, there are.
I mean, balancing is always a banger, I guess.
I agree. Not everybody likes balancing, but balancing, in my opinion, is a necessity in Marble League. Yeah. You can't take out balancing and have a solid Marble League.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, then. So we got know a little bit about Victor. So now that we do, we should talk about our fantasy teams like usual. We'll start with Waff. And Victor, do you have a fantasy team in the official?
Yeah, I do.
All right, then you'll be able to talk about that too. So we'll start with Waff, and then then we'll let Victor go, and then I will end and probably just yell about the Savage Beaters the whole time. You guys know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
all right. So it was better than last week. I got 47 points instead of 30. But I still went down even further. I'm now ranked 21. The distance between first place is still surmountable. It's just that it's less likely now. Momo is still my leader in points, but Crazy Cat Size, despite not having a multiplier, has my second highest of 96. Granted, Momo has 204, so it's like that multiplier would have been very helpful at this point, clearly, but it's just the speeders are really hurting me. They're just really suffering, and I picked the Raspberry Racers because I'm a fan of them, but they've never been good at Marbula one racing. So that was just not But then I've never picked based on stats, at least in terms of some of my favorites. So it is what it is. I'm lucky. I'm still that high up enough to actually have a chance, and I'm hoping that things improve.
Yeah. I'm...
All right, Victor, you can go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 147th in...
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. I had a brutal 2 weeks when it started, and it's gone fine. But, of course, I've got the Orange, the Savage Speeders, and Mellow Yellow, who's just not getting points. And Midnight...
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I have the Midnight Wisp on the ×2, but luckily I had Team Galactic on the ×3, so I saved in with 49 points, which is actually worse than last week.
Yeah, and they've been well. The Galactic has been probably actually your best team overall in that fantasy. It's an unfortunate occurrence that Savage Speeders, Orangers, all not doing well this year. So it's hey, maybe we'll pull it on. Like we said, we have 12 races. We're not even on race 6 yet. Yeah. I mean, maybe Savage Speeders or Rangers and Midnight Wisps will turn things around, but. Right now, it is not looking good.
It's not looking likely.
No. All right. So, for my fantasy, I have the Savage Beaters pulling us a couple points this week. Yes, they got 8th place, and we'll talk about that. Snowballs pulled nothing, and that is a problem. It was the result of Snowstorm's performance yet again, who has been much worse than Snowy over the course of the season so far. Snowstorm just not, I don't know, inexperienced is what I say when I watch Snowstorm race. Not necessarily bad. Potential's there, but inexperienced. Hazers, Crazy Cat's Eyes, and Green Ducks all had a decent race. Green Ducks, of course, being the best, and Cat's Eyes, I think, getting their lowest finish so far this season. All bringing me some points. I did better than race 2 and 4. I had 55 points, but still not great. My overall placement, if I actually go check, I believe will probably be somewhere in the 30s. I'm 40. I'm 40 overall right now. A lot of points to make up. And it really is, I honestly attribute most of the difficulty here to the Savage Speeders. I mean, it's been a rough road, and it's not getting better. I mean, Speedy came out and raced here in race 5. And Speedy was not good. Speedy was not good in the qualifiers, obviously barely squeaked in to the race, getting 16th place in the qualifiers, and actually did proceed to have a good race, right? 16th up to about 8th place. That isn't bad.
Yeah.
An 8th place increase is not bad at all. My problem is that he should not have been in 16th to begin with. The Speedy should never be in a situation in which he qualifies below 12th. I mean, that's just the way he is, especially since Rapidly is not doing very well this year. Speedy needs to be that consistent roller for the Savage Speeders. Has not or wasn't in this previous race. But we might be able to attribute that somewhat to the design of the track. And how difficult it was. But Speedy, I don't know. Is Speedy getting dragged down by the performance of Rapidly, or the Savage Speeders is on that downturn? Or are they going to be able to pull things together? Are they be able to turn things around in the coming races? We still have 7 races left. We still have time. Every team has time to turn things around. Every team has time to change their strategy. The question is there going to be any effort from the players out there? Any effort from Rapidly to start to try something new out there? Try to at least get into the race, at least get above 16th place. Is there anything from Speedy to keep that consistency up, or is it going to continue to slip away from them? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's a hard question. I mean, Rapidly has been known to be performing poor now over the last few races, and of course, Speedy hasn't been the best in qualifiers, except for one blimp. But, of course, they need a better performance schedule, because if they keep on going like this, they're not going to finish up on the Limas or pretty much anyone, it looks like.
Yeah. Right now, you could argue Savage Speeders are on their way to being the worst Marbula 1 team this year, which is just... It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's not good at all.
Not a good look from a first place team previous season.
Yeah, I feel like we've had this question a few times now, but like based on how it's going, I think Rapidly might just be stuck this way for this season. But like, again, it is the Savage Speeders. Like, this is just, it's an anomaly. It's really strange that this is happening to them this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perhaps the Marble League did more we've mentioned before how the over time, like more and more damage happens to a marble, and that will eventually affect them. So perhaps Marble League, this past Marble League, took more of a toll on the Savage Speeders than we realized, perhaps, and like maybe that's why they're not doing so good this time around.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe, and you could maybe attribute that to Rapidly's performance, but Speedy was good in the first 2 races. There's no denying that. Bar the difficulty on the conveyor belt, I mean, he was good. He was a good racer.
Yeah.
He won race 3. He was in the top in race 1, until the difficulty. I mean, he was good. I mean, and he was not even bad in race 5, and that's the thing. He was not. It's just that he qualified very low. He couldn't roll fast in the qualifiers, and then he made up a ton of ground, but he already started so far back that even though he made up a pretty impressive amount of ground in a single race, it didn't turn into anything notable because he started so low. So I mean, Speedy, honestly, I think that it will continue to go well for Speedy over the course of the next few races. It will kind of balance itself out, and he will probably maybe even win another race, hopefully. But it's really Rapidly that's going to be the issue here. Rapidly needs to do something, turn it around. And honestly, the only thing I can say for the coach of the Savage Speeders right now is it might be better to put Speedy out twice in a row, because then what you're going to be able to do is you get Speedy out there, a pretty consistent racer, put him twice in a row. He's going to be able to do his work, and then Rapidly will come in afterwards and actually be facing different marbles on the track, because if Speedy goes twice in a row, most teams switch on and off, majority, you could say. And so Rapidly will be faced with a different grouping of marbles, and that might be helpful for Rapidly. Rapidly might just happen to race better against that next grouping. So that's what I recommend for the Savage Speeders. But yeah, right now it has been an unexpected lack of performance for them this year.
Yeah, very unexpected one, because you expect the Savage Speeders to do well, you expect the Rangers to do well, and neither of them have.
Yeah.
Well, Savage Speeders are 7th, but I mean, only 28 points after 5 races. You expect more from them. It's poor. Like, you expect them to be at least top 10, like, most of the time, and they've got how many? Like 2 top 10s in 5 races. It's not good enough.
No, in my opinion, it is not good enough at all. And actually, the reason they're 7th overall right now is to the reason that your top 6 teams right now are consistently in the top. I mean, Momo, Crazy Cat's Eyes, Green Ducks.
Yeah, Bumblebees don't even have a medal, and it's still top 10. And top 3, even.
Who'd you say?
Bumblebees.
Oh, the Bumblebees. Yeah, the Bumblebees have been consistent though, and that what's win. And I say this is why I actually favored Mellow Yellow in previous fantasies. They did not do well, unfortunately, in Marble League 2020, but I favored them because consistency wins marble sports tournaments.
Yeah,
that's why. And the Bumblebees are in 3rd right now with no medals to their name because they've at least been consistent.
Yeah,
and that will win out in the day. On the other hand, I mean, you look at the Crazy Cat's Eyes, they've not only been consistent, but they've been consistently winning. Race 5 today was their first, a couple days ago, was their first below podium finish, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, very crazy.
This far in. I mean, they're on trajectory to almost probably double the Savage Speeders podiums from season 1. I mean, it really is crazy. But Yellow Eye, unfortunately, in this previous race, got caught up in the pack. A lot of tough, hard 90s out there on the course. A lot of change of direction, and the half pipe. The bank turn. Sorry, was difficult for Yellow Eye, and he could not hold on to a lead. But he did battle up there for a while. I mean, it was not a bad look from him. But I think the big surprise for me this race was the Hazers coming out of nowhere and taking 8th place. I mean, first place. Sorry, they're in 8th overall, and they're all just about all their points came from this race. They had 2 in the first race, 1 in the 4th, and they come back in race 5 and win. So, what do you think about that? I mean, Hazers, what do you think?
What a story! Going from what was it like? I'm going to check quickly. From, second bottom to 8th, it's 11 spots jumped, and it's the amazing achievement from them. And I think, like, if teams like those go from the bottom, like, and just fight their way to the top, like, it would be just insane, because, of course, now it's a one marble show, or a one team show with the Chris Gatsize, who've already got almost 100 points, but if the Hazes, for example, could challenge them, because there's still a lot of points left to fight for. So if some team like that just start fighting for them, I think we can see a different team win the Marbula 1.
Possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
The only other team within range right now is Momo, and they kind of been slipping away lately, 0 and 10 points in the last 2 races. But I don't know. Momo kind of, might be able to call it a fluke. The first couple of races, Momo doesn't usually do that well, but it's
almost been half of Marbula 1. It'd be kind of like that. That's kind of strange for a fluke to last for almost half of a season.
I mean, they were good for the first 3 races, right? 10 points in race 5, 0 in race 4, right? So it's not half a season, and that's 3 races. So, maybe they
So I said
came
we're
out
almost,
strong.
because we still have race 6 to get to.
Yeah, but, like, they weren't good through race 4 and 5, right? So,
Well, five they did decent, right? It wasn't
10
fifth
points,
place?
10 points.
10.
So it's not bad, but are they going to continue at the same power as the Crazy Cat's Eyes have been and over the course of the year? That's the question. That's really what the questions that needs to be asked when you talk about teams in Marbula 1. The goal of a marble sports tournament is to win, not to get second place. So when you look at these stats, when you look at the performances in the past races, the question I'm going to ask myself is, does this team have the potential to overtake the top 1? Is that the potential that we're looking at here, or no? Second's great, third is great. You can talk about those positions. But no marble team, even all the way down the Jungle Jumpers in 20th, no marble team goes out and races and says, okay, I want to get second, and that's it. No, you going for the first overall. You want to win. So when you talk about Momo, yes, they've been good. They've been very surprisingly better than usual. But you need to ask, are they able? Are they capable of overtaking the Crazy Cat's Eyes in the top 1 spot? Because that's what's important. That's going to be what's important. I think they are. I think they could, but they need to. They need to qualify a little better. I think they need to do a little bit better as far as getting in the top 5, top 3 placements up there. Crazy Cat's Eyes have been very good at qualifying high. Almost always, all 5 races getting into at least round 2 of the qualifiers. And that's where you need to be if you're going to start a race well. That's why Speedy, who raced really well in race 5, still had a mediocre performance because he didn't start very well. Qualifying is very important.
Yeah.
Anyway, any other teams you guys want to bring up? If not, we have a big
since we're talking about
topic.
flukes, the Limers this week.
Yeah.
Like, dang.
Yeah, they're officially higher than the Rangers, which is a weird thing to say. I think that's a first, honestly.
It is a weird thing to say.
I think that is a first.
Yeah, and also, like, for them to finish third in a race where they were dominant, like, they were first. They didn't, I think the lowest they dropped were 5th after, like, entering the podium. I think this race was deserved for them. Like, they deserved getting podium. They fought it hard. They even deserved to win at one point. So to see them doing well after, like, them being pretty much dormant for the last 4 races, it's insane.
No, yeah. I think that of course I'm a Limers fan, even though I don't put them on my fantasy. So I'm happy to see them do well. I think that it's the biggest problem I always have with the Limers every single Marble Sports year is consistency. They and actually, if you look at Marbula 1 Season 1, I think they did have 1 or 2 good finishes in the podium even. I think 1 podium. But it's just hard for them to keep it up. It's hard for them to be good for more than just 1 race.
Yeah.
And that's what they have 12 races to play with, though. Like you said, there's a lot of points left to play.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll turn it around. Maybe they'll get things going now. And they'll be good to, if I see the Limers finish top 8, sorry, not 5, they're probably not going to get there, then I'll be happy. I'll see it as a successful season for what they usually are.
Yeah.
So yeah, Limers. I think there were many instances in previous races where I saw the Limers up in the top 5, top 8 positions for like a couple of laps here and there, but they just couldn't hold on to it. So that's something they have to work on. Racing with other marbles around you, fending off collisions, cutting off other marbles well and at the right times and blocking. You hear Greg talk about this when he's commentating. You hear him mention moments in the race where marbles at the top will dodge to the right, dodge to the left, cut off other marbles from making moves and cause collisions from the back. And that's what you need to be able to do when you're racing against other marbles. It's about speed, but it's also about how you interact with the other marbles around you. And use them to get in front. And that's something that the Limers are struggling with. That's something that Savage Speeders are struggling a little bit with. That's something that...
Rangers.
Our Rangers are definitely struggling with that. I mean, and so past qualifying, there's a lot of other skills that are very important in a good Marbula 1 race. So yeah, we'll have to see how they do.
I guess another team mentions like the Jungle Jumpers, like they started out really strong and then they ended in 18th.
Yeah.
Like this, like I get they're not a particularly great team at all to begin with, but like this seemed like they qualified high. They started they qualified in the top, right?
Yeah, they were.
Correct.
Ninth.
I don't remember.
They were 9th. Okay, so they're a bit middle of the pack, but then they kind of made their way up to the top and like, hey, they're doing pretty good, and then they just fell all the way back down.
Yeah. And in my opinion, that is the glaring difference to me between a team like the Jungle Jumpers and a team like the Savage Speeders. Because, I mean, while the Savage Speeders are struggling this year, and for a moment there looked like they might drop all the way down next to the Jungle Jumpers, the Savage Speeders at least have the ability to at least for Speedy, start in some place like 16th, but get it up to 8th. Jungle Jumpers are a team that not only struggle to qualify, but once they do, they very quickly lose out on their positioning and actually have only gotten 1 point in the season. So, I mean, Jungle Jumpers, it's hard to really say what they need to do. Maybe swipe it clean and put 2 new marbles in, but also this is their first year here in Marbula 1. They're not the strongest marble sports team in the JMR world, and so they might just need the experience to try to build up what it feels like to race, how they're going to need to race, how they need to interact with other marbles, and it takes time for them to make those improvements.
Yeah. I mean, another team that's been doing very, very well over the last 2 races is the Thunderbolts. 2 silver medals over 2 races, 41 points. Like, that's insane from them. They've done amazingly. Like, they've gone from 11 to 52 points. So, like, they are definitely a team to look out for, and if you have them in the fantasy team on a ×2, you're blessed. And
you've been doing quite well over the last couple of races. They've really picked it up, and I think the Thunderbolts for me is an image, it's a snapshot of many to show how quickly things can change. I mean, look at their scores. 3-5-3 in the first 3 races, not great. Then they turn it around and get 20 and 21. So any given day, any marble can beat any other marble. It's just about how you approach each race, how you have to make sure that you're focused every lap. Make sure you don't let previous races affect your performance, and they've been doing that. And the Thunderbolts now are in 4th. They're at a good shot to get to 2nd. And in a few more races, you might see the Thunderbolts right up there trying to push for the crazy cat's eyes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so before we move on to talk about track design, we got a lot to talk about there. I want to get some opinions from you guys. Just a quick opinion on prediction on crazy cat's eyes. Where are they going? Are they going to continue down? I mean, they did 25, 20, 17, 26. First 4 races, very good. But then they got an 8 here in race 5. And are they going to continue downhill, you think? They're going to trail off? Or are they going to... Is their lack of performance here only a result of the very unique track that they were faced with? What do you guys think?
I think it was the track. Like, they have proven so far that they are really good at this, and I think that they are going to continue to do good. But like, I think this track in particular was very good at spicing up the competition, really making it challenging for anyone to really hold a lead for any extended period of time, because like the turns are so chaotic that they're not uniform. They're different degrees at different points. So and I think particularly the biggest one was the 2 back-to-back 90-degree turns. Like, that was probably, I think, where the most the slip-ups happened. Cause, like, either like they got passed by other marbles, like they hit it wrong and they didn't flow into it, and they kind of like lost most of their momentum and they get passed up. So I think like it's mostly the track that was what was challenging.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
all right, what do you think?
I mean, if they keep up the pace here at now with 4 medals in 5 races, I think they can't. I think it's physically impossible for them to be able to do it. But of course, I don't think they're gonna become like super bad. They're not gonna finish top 10 and not qualify. I think they're gonna be just fine. But I don't think they're gonna get like a podium finish 4 podium finishes in 5 races. I don't think they're going to keep that pace up.
Yeah. Those are valid predictions. In my opinion, I think it would be a strong opinion to attribute their performance to the track, because some of it because of how unique this track was, how difficult it is, how difficult it was to gain speed on this track. Hence why Speedy struggled a little bit in the qualifying. Makes a lot of sense, by the way. Speedy is normally a fast marble. Speedy could not really pick up the speed ever in this track in the qualifying because of how it's designed. Crazy Cat's Eye seem to be the same way. Listen, I it's hard to really predict the Crazy Cat's Eyes, but I honestly think that, I mean, they just look so strong out there. They look so dominant, and I feel like they could keep pace to podium another 4 times in the last 7 races. I have to be honest. Like, they have been stellar, and there's nothing showing me that they're not marbles that are not going to be always contenders for the top 3 every race. I mean, even in this race, they ended up in 8th, but for most of the race, they were contender for the top 3.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, they're there. They're up there. They're always racing. I mean, I was go to a random point here on the YouTube. Look at that. They're in 3rd. I just jumped to lap 11 on the YouTube here. I have the video up. They're in 3rd place. You know, you jump around to other places. Look at that. They're in 2nd place in lap 6. You know, jump around to 8th place. I mean, lap 8, they're in 3rd place, and from 2nd place to go to 14, they're back to 6. So they tailed off in the last couple of laps, unlucky ending. But lap 4, they're in 1st.
Yeah.
I mean, lap 2, they're in 2nd. I mean, this is a good race. I mean, besides the last couple of laps, they raced well. I mean, there's nothing telling me that they're not going to podium a few more times here in the last 7 races. But like you guys said, you guys' predictions are valid as well, and it remains to be seen what will happen. So we'll have to come back to that later. Anyways, next segment here, we're going to talk about the track. We're going to talk about if we like the track. I posted something on the Reddit here and pretty much just said, did you like the Tumult Turnpike, and kind of left it to everybody to interpret as they will. And I will read a bunch of these answers and respond to them. But let's start with us first before we get into this Reddit post. Opinions on the track. I mean, we'll do as we usually do. We'll rate the track out of 10. You know, we'll take turns and we'll see what you guys think. So, why don't you start us off? Out of 10, track, what do you think?
I think this is a 9 out of 10 for me because, like, the track design allowed for more interesting racing. It allowed for a lot of challenges for the top. Like, it was never really certain who was going to win for most of the race. Like, it was always like, you couldn't really tell how it was all going to end, and that was really exciting. But like it's missing that one point because like while that is like chaotic nature, it does match the balls of chaos. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really like have a theme for it. Like nothing really makes it like stand out as like aside from that for being a balls of chaos map. Now, granted, I can't think of many things that you could do to make a map themed around chaos specifically. That's very hard to do. But like at the same time, but like that's just like the natural weakness of a team that doesn't really have like a thing that naturally represents them. Like Oceanics, for instance, like the ocean represents them, so water naturally is a theme that you would try to include. Or Rangers, like Cowboys, Wild West, sand makes sense. Like, but for Balls of Chaos, like you just like what, throw a bunch of gobbledygook into the arena around it.
I have ideas on that. I'm gonna address that when it's my turn. But yeah, you make a good point on that. All right, Victor, what do you think?
I'll give it an 8 out of 10 because the one thing I had a main issue with was it didn't look like people got enough speed into the bank turn and had to gain a lot of speed, but of course,
very good point. Very good point.
The turn 5 and 6 to 290 degrees. I love them because they gave the best block I've ever seen on Origin. We're just getting hit by, I think it was Star, and just dropping them to 15. It was amazing.
Yeah. I think 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 are good ratings. For me, it's 7 out of 10. Pot is leaning towards a 6 out of 10.
Really?
It's low so
yeah,
far.
I mean, remember, like 1 out of 10 is far from 1 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? That's a bad track, 1 out of 10. So it's not even close. You have to give it that. But 10 out of 10 is, to give something a 10 out of 10, give something 9 out of 10, it's got to be really good. It's got to hit every point on the circle of a good Marbula 1 track. It's got to hit. And so it gets a 6 out of 10 because it gets a good 6 points. It's a unique track. It has a different idea. Lots of sharp turns, lots of odd structures. The bank turn was nice, but pulling a lot of the stuff you said. First of all, Victor, you're correct. There was not a long enough straight into the bank turn to put enough speed on the marbles into the bank turn. That is a fact. First thing I saw when I saw the track was like that not a long enough straight into the bank turn. And the bank turn is a better feature when there's speed into it, when there's a substantial amount of time for marbles to gain speed going into it. So I agree 100% with that needed to be a little bit longer for it to be a better track. And number two, I mean, I talk about what Waff says. I mean, there's no theming to it. And yes, you could say that just the way it was designed, it had a little chaotic feel because of the sharp turns, but I need to see some more creativity. I really wish there was a little bit more creativity. Like, many things come to my head. Simple and actually interesting features that you could add to the track to make it more chaotic. Number one, you could have a substantial drop in the track. That's a possibility. 45-degree, 50-degree drop, so it's substantial. You notice it, and maybe it lasts 2-3 track lengths. So marbles drop down, get speed, and then you can just have a little bit of higher walls or something to make sure they don't fly off the track. And that could be chaotic, because then just in the midst of the race, when they're all in a pack, it's going to be chaotic when they go down that drop. That's number one. Number two, you could have moments where maybe like the middle third of the track rises up, so like marbles might be able to roll up on that top piece, which would cause chaos, because those marbles would roll up there, they would fall off to the left or the right, maybe on top of other marbles. You could put high walls in that section. All of a sudden you have a simple idea, but it turns into a pretty unique and chaotic track feature, because you have something that looks different, number one, and something that causes more chaos on the track. I mean, just things that would cause marbles to slam into each other at different angles and move all around, and that kind of thing needed to be there. It's the balls of chaos, after all. So in my opinion, that wasn't there. It should have been there. I want to see a little more creativity on those tracks. I mean, like, these ideas I came up with these in a couple minutes. I mean, I just feel like even though I'm not knocking the tracks. They're well made. They're amazing. It's Marbula 1. It's crazy that it's even existing. I'm just saying, like, at this point, I just wish I could see a couple of those things. I mean, even just a small part of the track, you just put a little bit of a raised area, or a little bit of a drop, just to add that chaotic aspect to it. I mean, in my opinion, that would be the difference between a 6 out of 10 and a 9 out of 10 every time.
I'm curious, what would your opinion be if they included obstacles like a plinko board, for instance, in the track?
I'm always mixed feeling on the plinko board, because while it seems interesting always to have obstacles to make the marbles divert into various directions, I always feel that the plinko board more often than not just decreases the speed of marbles. And while they will get all like messed up and chaotic in there, it usually just takes all their speed away. So the only way I could see a plinko board working is that if it was like not that many plinkos, if you know what I'm saying, not that many pegs, like a few pegs, number one, like nothing more than 5, and it was right before like a drop that would bring all the speed back to the marble, just so like a little bit of chaos, but we're not going to take all the speed away for a long time. That's the only way, in my opinion, that works. I used to think plinko boards would be a good idea, but honestly, I'm not always a huge fan of them. Actually, a good time to ask Victor. Victor, what do you think? Plinko board, even a small one on a track, what do you think that would do? I'm
agreeing with you. I don't know if it would be good or bad, because we need to see it to understand what would happen. But I think, of course, they might lose a lot of speed, but then if we have a drop, they gain speed. But if you get a long enough jump, you might actually just get like a lot more speed than anyone else. So it's a hard question to answer.
Yeah, I think
I was just kind of, it's an idea I had, like, to try and add randomness. Like, I wondered like how people might feel about it. Like, it definitely would, like, I think because it's the nature of Formula 1 racing, by extension Marbula 1 racing is speed. Like, that plinko board would take away too much of it. Like, I guess other ideas I came up with was like, maybe like a 3-way diverging track, which would require like a 3D printed piece to make that work. But like, Like one that's like more zigzaggy, one that's more curvy, one that's more straight, or maybe they have like a jump, and like if you miss the jump, you go on a slower track down, something like that. But like that is more complex and it requires more 3D printing and custom track parts to make that work. But like, there are definitely ways I think they could have made it more chaotic and more unique.
Yeah. And in my opinion, JMR just while they do an amazing job, like I said, they do an amazing job. Before I get comments saying, "Why do you hate them? They're doing a great," I know, I do, I believe you, I agree with you. But I feel that JMR does limit themselves in the tools that they use. They kind of keep themselves within just Marbula 1 track and those little divider chevron thingies, and that's it. It's like they don't go any more than that. And I feel like that if they just let their minds run wild and, you know, really was like, how would Balls of Chaos really design this course if they were the ones designing it? And that's how I would think if I was giving the ideas. That's how those ideas came to mind, because if the Balls of Chaos were an existing real life group of anthropomorphic marbles or whatever, and they were going to design a track, I believe that they would have some notable drop, split, something that would cause an extra amount of chaos and collisions and things like that. That's just what I think.
I guess one thing like of why like they probably could have thought of, they probably did think of a lot of the ideas I came up with, but like they don't want to use all of the ideas on just one track, because then they can't use them in other tracks and make them unique. Like the jumping thing that could,
I mean, like
the jumping thing could work at. Well, you know, the jumping thing I mentioned, like that could work for a Jungle Jumpers track because that fits their theme. Like a jumping to a track, like that works for them. But if they use like all the unique stuff here, it makes the other tracks that come later feel less special.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so. All right then. If those are all our opinions on the track, if you guys don't have anything else, then I'll read what the good people of the Marble Sports community said, and we'll respond to it. All right, so we got a bunch of responses. I don't know if I'm going to read all of these. I'm just going to read them until we get to the point where we got to go to trivia. So here we go. Dino Kia, first one up here on the Reddit, says, I thought it was pretty cool. Admittedly, there's probably a slightly biased. I think it's just something's wrong there, since one of my teams won. However, I thought it created quite a unique racing, allowed for some great opportunities to racers who could learn how to navigate it. Yeah, that's a solid answer. Sure, I agree. Yeah. SMDCUO says, it was great. The banked corner worked wonders again in both the qualifying and the race. There is significant difference in speed racers can take through that section, and it shows. I agree. This leads on to the long straight following the bank turn, which was perfect. We saw some nice battles there, but what it really did was set up for the hard chicane. Yeah, that's true. That speed into the hard chicane was nice. The thing that made this track great is that until Hazy's rounded the second to last corner, I still thought it was possible he could lose it. There are so many places for a racer to lose speed, for another racer to gain speed, that one could never feel safe in the lead. Bolt and Yellow Eye had great stints there at the front, but all it took was one bad lap and they were being challenged again. I will say to that, my point on that is that I agree that there were a lot of places to lose speed. I do not agree there were a lot of places to gain speed besides the one straight out of the bank turn. That was another possible negative for me on this track. There were so many places to lose speed, and that's why there were so many lead changes. But as far as gaining speed, there was not many, like, to me, like, standout moments besides the one straight that was like, okay, this is a place to really go get going fast if you approach it right. But anyway, moving on. For me, what I like to see is a great race with lots of opportunities for racers to climb up or fall down the pack, and this track did not disappoint. My only slight issue, which would have probably affected Hazy badly, was the yellow flag, which didn't seem to do anything in many ways. They had time to stop the marbles in that side part of the starting gate that would have made the final lap super intense. I would really like to see a yellow flag situation where the pack is brought back next to each other like the Racing Marbles series. I agree. Like the competition caution, though, that only happens in the qualifiers. That could be very, very controversial if they in the last 3 laps of a race they just restart everybody in the pack and then someone in the lead just loses. I mean, that could be controversial.
Well, yeah, but that's why the safety marble was there. Like it did manage to push it just enough to where it couldn't be an issue, and like that was why that's what that safety marble is for. It prevented that situation from ever happening, so we didn't need to worry about it.
Yeah, the safety marble was a very good thing. Some people responded to that. I won't read those. BioSpark says, that one brutal chicane sold the chaos theme to me and instantly made me fall in love with the track. The one spot where you have a ton of speed, just slamming into a crazy turn where you can't go slow because you need speed for the incoming straightaway. There was so much shuffling there and made for some great overtakes. Sure, it ain't perfect, but it was awesome. I'll give you that. Yeah. And there are going to be people out there who are going to be satisfied with the JMR's track design and as far as the little bit of chaos they did inject into it. I personally am not, but some people might be, like this guy. All right, common result 9 says, one of the distinguished featuring of the track is that it was slow, just like the Balls of Chaos. In all seriousness, the course basically emphasized that one slip up will cost you everything. The Rangers runner crashed into the back of Starry on the 90-degree area and lost out big time. Oh, Victor was mentioning that.
Loved it.
Yeah, that's got to be tough, dude. That's got to be tough to be a viewer as yourself and watch, that one slip up, that one difficult moment cost you like a full race. Another full race costed for the Rangers, by the way. All right, moving on. Misek52. I really like the track. It looks like some sort of a mountainous road, despite not having any chaotic features such as funnels, plinkos, or fidget spinners. You have a good point. I don't know if those particular features would be the ones I'd want to add, but I agree that it needs some more chaotic features. The circuit itself is chaotic, with marbles coming to a complete stop sometimes after a misfortune upon entering the two 90-degree turns. However, I would prefer to see the track built in reverse. Longer straight ahead of the bank turn. Yeah. Thank you. Other people agree.
It makes more sense reversed because you have the start, a few turns, of course, a few flats surfaces where you can get a lot of speed, and then just a long straightaway to quick turns and into the bank turn, which makes more sense. But because you can overtake easier in the bank turn than you can in turn 9 and turn 10. So yeah, I'm fully agreeing with that.
No, yeah, you were right on, Victor, when you mentioned that. That's probably, aside of my always crazy expectations for crazy features, which I for some people they're going to be crazy. That was the big standout thing for me, and for you, and for a lot of other people, that the bank turn needs to have a longer straight into it to allow for more speed to be gained. So that very good point. Okay, Gamosphere says, as a Crazy Cat's Eye fan, I must say this was by far the best race this season. As a Crazy Cat's Eye fan, you'd be a little upset. This was your worst race this season.
What they mean by that is like despite them not doing as good here, is still they still think it's the best race, so they're showing that they don't have bias against it.
So many lead changes and overtakes. I agree. All right, Steve from Latvia says, and he happens to be in our live chat right now.
Yeah, he wasn't agreeing with me saying the lines did well, so.
Yeah. Okay, he says, this easily is the most treacherous track that has been featured in Marbula 1, but this is what makes it so awesome. Almost every single corner, I'm assuming corner, could make or break the race for any team. Turns 5 and 6 are especially hard. You can have a lot of speed coming out of the bank turn, but one mistake would bring you to a dead stop and drop you to last place. Our engine in lap 2 was a very good example for this. Everyone calling that out. Yeah. And certainly lived up to the word chaos, I'm assuming. Yeah. This track was very technical with a big emphasis on get through the corners without losing too much speed. I think this is what caught a lot of teams out, since the previous were more focused on speed rather than cornering. Probably why the Savage Speeder struggled a little bit. I absolutely love to see this track on the calendar next year. Okay, yeah, I think this track could be good in the calendar next year with a couple changes.
Yeah.
All right, Narrow Dot 171. We'll continue with a few more here. Let's see how we're doing on time, actually. Yeah, we have a couple minutes. I loved it, he says. The bank turn was great, although I would have liked a longer straight leading up to it. Again, another person saying that. Victor, you are speaking the word of the masses today. And he loved the chicane. Well, it was a bit slow. I didn't mind it. The whole race was super interesting because it's possible to jump or to slide down the placing really quickly. Hazy was absolutely nowhere in that race. Ended up winning because of the unorthodox track that it was. Hey, that's a good point. Hazy did kind of come out of nowhere. At the same time, Origin was right up there and then got bumped at the chicane and fell away. A lot of people saying the same things.
Yeah, but you can see it's in normal racing as well. You can do well and then suddenly be lost because of someone else's mistake or because of, well, in this case, bumping into another rider. So it makes sense to me. Of course, I can't really criticize it because I love Story to death. And me saying that
exactly,
that was a douchebag move is a bit like saying that my daughter is stupid. I don't have a daughter, just for clarification, but it's like saying that.
Okay, yeah, I mean, kinda. But yeah, I agree. All right, so a couple more here, and we'll head to the trivia. LC Leopards says, honestly, I think the other teams could learn from the Balls of Chaos. I don't think all of the course need to be as slow and collision heavy as this one, but there should be more difficulty in the tracks to create opportunities to pass, provide more value to the technical side of the sport. I love speed as much as the next fan would give me a course that has great speed sections with some difficult transitions, and I'm all in. I agree with you. And the way, and the method that other teams can use to achieve what you just said, LC Leopards, if you happen to be listening, thank you, is by indulging their theme more. For example, if there were three hive sections in the Bumblebee's track, then that would indulge that would meet up to your method. There would be 3 more difficult sections in the course. That would cause even a very speedy track to become a little bit more difficult, but still have speed. I mean, these are all things that should be happening, you know? The theming and really indulging the theme of a team is going to be how you make a course speed and then difficult at the same time. So I agree with that. Though I do think every once in a while there should be some kind of easier track or some track that's speed based only. I'd even love to see just an oval shaped track one time just to kind of have that uniqueness, because one oval shaped track in 12 is really awesome. Obviously 12 will, you know?
Yeah.
I think will be cool. All right, we'll do 2 more here because there's 2 that have a negative outlook on it. So let's see what they said. Matrix is life. I wasn't hugely keen on it. It seemed to introduce a larger random element into the race where one slightly off angle coming to the corner could cost the marble a ton of position. Witness the rearranger who got hammered at one point, losing 10 or more spots in one corner. Smooth it out just a little and then be great. So he did not like the changing up there.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's a Ranger fan, to be honest.
He's a Crazy Cat's Eyes fan.
Is he?
But it says it in his thing. Maybe he's in a Ranger and Crazy Cat's Eyes. Who knows?
Yeah.
Dodo Dixie says, as a team primary fan, no, not at all. He does not like it. However, as a neutral, there's a lot more fun to be had from a high octane, high passing tracks like this, as long as we still have the contrast with the more technical, skillful tracks, and it doesn't get overused. Yes, I agree that in the course of 12 tracks, having one that's a little bit more difficult as compared to the speed ones is very important. And so they did that there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's enough fan opinions. And so you see the general consensus is that the difficulty in the 90s and all of that is a good thing. And it made some unique racing. But, of course, number 1, the bank turn needed to have a longer straight into it. That should be in every time the bank turn is used, it should have a long straight into it to let speed, or some way to gain a lot of speed into it.
Yeah.
And number 2, a lot of people were thinking that maybe there was not enough new features that really cause extra chaos out there. Overall, good track, though. All right, so we're going to head to the trivia segment, guys. We're going to ask some questions, come back, read you an email. Remember, you can email us at mswpodcast@gmail.com. And then we'll get you out of here for today. So play that trivia music, editor person, and we'll see you on the other side of that.
Now it's time for the trivia segment. Come on now, let's go, go, go. Go, go, go.
All right, and the music played. So weird. It was only a 1 second pause for me, but it was for you. It was like 10 seconds. I don't know how long the music is.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got trivia questions all around. So let's see what you guys have to say. Starting with Victor, why don't you start us off on your question?
Yeah, I got this from one of my friends, so I know the answer, but it's who is the only team to finish last with a podium finish in the Marble League?
The only marble to finish in last, but then to have a podium
last
finish.
overall and have a podium finish.
Okay. Which marble or which team?
Which team?
Which team? Okay. Oh, that would be
this would be from the previous year, right?
That would be the Jungle Jumpers.
No, they didn't have a podium this year.
Oh, this year? I think meant like any year.
Yeah, any year.
Well, they didn't compete in last year.
So wait, what was the question
Jungle
only for
Jumpers
this year?
didn't compete in season
No, any
1,
year.
right?
Any year. Okay, if it's any year, then Jungle Jumpers.
Did they compete in season 1?
They wait. Are we not? We're talking about Marble League.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Marble League. Oh, I thought we were talking about Marbula 1. All right, Marbula, that's actually a good question. I think
Then it's 2 teams apparently.
Pinky's a good answer there. Actually, honestly, Pinky's a
Oh,
very
it's supposed
good
to say
answer
2
there.
teams?
Well, yeah, apparently because I didn't have the jungle jumpers right. But yeah.
Oh.
Well,
I mean,
the watcher's guessing that. He doesn't know that for sure.
Yeah.
No, I know it. This is a fact I know
Pinky's
very well.
is my best guess.
Yeah, and you're both correct. The Pinkies did it in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Pinkies are that team, by the way, that gets last overall but still has a podium finish.
Yeah.
You can always count on them to be like that.
It was the 2018 Marble Leaf, if not mistaken, where the Jungle Jumpers, they got first in archery, but that was the only thing they did good that year. And then they didn't even race in the final event, so like naturally they got last place.
That's
I'm just going to quickly...
Then archery needs to come back, don't you?
Yeah, that was...
I think that's a fun event.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a cool event. All right then, so Waff, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, mine's not nearly as interesting, but in race 5 of Marbula 1 Season 2, we have all talked about like how the orange it was Orange who like pushed back a lot in that one turn. How many places did they lose in that one turn alone?
It's a good
How
question.
many? They lost. If I'm not, because I think I remember Starry was in 6th, and I think he lost. I want to say he lost 8 positions. That's my guess.
I'm just gonna say 7, just because I don't remember honestly.
All right, the correct answer is 7.
Oh,
All right, well there you go.
Yep.
I mean,
Pepe.
the less remembering I do, the better I seem to.
They might have lost more places by the end of the lap, but in that one turn alone, they lost their place. They lost like 7 marbles past them.
All right, I have a good question here. I just got to do some quick counting, so I can make sure I know the answer. This is going to be a tough one, by the way. Just getting some dead air here on the podcast. That's all right. Okay, I think I got the answer to this. Okay, tell me how many marbles have been used twice in a row in the races this year. How many marbles? Because you don't have to go every other for your teammates here, because there's 2 racers. And for example, Snowstorm was used twice in a row. I'll give you one answer. Snowstorm was used twice in a row.
I'm assuming they're referring to
race
just
5
this
and
season.
4. Yeah, so in this season, how many marbles so far have been used twice in a row?
Well, they only did it this one time, so it would be Snowstorm is 1, obviously.
You don't have to name all of them. Just give me a number.
Oh, okay, yeah.
4.
Because it'd be hard to name. If you would be able to name all of them, it'd be very difficult.
I'll go with 5.
All right, and Waff, you're right. It is 5, and I'll actually name them for you just so you know. You got Bolt, Hazy, Tumult, 3. Got to scroll down here. Orangin.
That's what I thought.
And
Snowstorm.
Snowstorm. There you go. There's your 5.
All right.
So 5 marbles been used twice in a row.
Yeah.
And they're across the standings here. I mean, like, you have some from the top few competitors, Bolt up there, but you also have Snowstorm, who's from Snowballs, who are not doing very well. So overall, there's no correlation yet between using a marble twice and the overall team performance, but we'll see.
I wonder how they picked which teams would do repeats. Like was it by flipping a coin or something? I wonder.
I don't know how they do that, and that's why I really wish there was some sort of community coach thing, so there could actually be intelligent minds deciding to do something like play Speedy twice to rapidly faces a new group of marbles because he's gotten 0 points both times, something like that. That is something I want to see. I wish we had coaches that would just be able to do something like that. But I don't know how JMR decides it. It might be random, or they might try to help out. I have no idea. So. Either way, 5 so far. Yeah. So that's going to wrap up this trivia segment. Head back to the regular show, and we'll read an email and get you guys out of here. Let's listen to that trivia music once again.
That was the trivia segment. Now let's head back to the show. The show. Oh.
All
right.
Woof.
I think it played.
Could I just ask which year the Jungle Jumpers finished last?
That would be it would be 2018.
I don't think it was 2018 because that's.
Well, I mean, like they've been here for
Oceanics
3 years
finished
now.
Yeah, I
last
know,
in
but
that was-
And their first year was 2018, and that's when they did their worst.
No, 2017 because I'm on 2017 and they didn't finish last. They finished second to last ahead of the Quicksilvers.
Really?
Yeah.
So I guess I was wrong. Okay.
Yeah, I thought I checked it, but it's fine.
All right. Well, I guess I got it wrong. How many points was it by?
It wasn't.
That they...
I think it was 10. It wasn't a lot.
Okay. I thought the Jungle Jumpers did like significantly worse, but
No,
I guess
8
not.
is less even. Yeah, and they also had a bronze. Funny enough, so.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I didn't remember that.
I'm just gonna quickly make sure that it wasn't 2018. Because if it is,
I mean, if Archery was in 2017, then that was it.
yeah, it was because I remember 2018 being winter, and I thought Archery isn't really.
you guys,
You're
you guys
right.
you guys are really doing this now. So I'm just gonna go check out. I'm on the JMR wiki. We're gonna find out now. 2017. The Limers finished last in 12th place with 17 points. So that was 2017. And then in 2018, click Sam Umbrelli. I'm stupid.
Well, it's whichever one
2018
has Archery. Whichever one has Archery.
2018, qualifier results. I have to scroll all the way down here. Where's the final? Do I have to go all the way to the bottom for the finals? This is annoying. Final standings. Pinkies finished in 16th in 2018. So I don't know where you're talking about with the Jungle Jumpers. 2016, I don't even think the Jungle Jumpers were a team yet.
No, they were not.
So I'll check 2019, and if that's not
2019 was
Archery though, didn't it?
but 2019 was Oceanics. We all know that.
Yeah, Oceanic. So
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I think just all across the board, it's not the Jungle Jumpers. I don't even think Jungle Jumpers. I don't know about that.
I mean-
so I think definitely the Pinkies. There's your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
one wrong then.
All right. So I don't even know if the music has played yet because we kind of just continue.
It
to
has.
talk
It
about the trivia.
has.
Definitely has.
But has it played yet? Ricochet. By the way, do you understand? While he's
No, please don't.
Victor.
Yeah.
Victor, do you understand the pun Rick O'Shea, the name of a commentator in the marble world?
You've explained Ricochet. His name is Rick O'Shea. If I'm not mistaken, of course, he's a marble and Ricochet is something they do, and there's so many things that I can't remember off the top of my head.
No, yeah, you're correct. That is the pun. Rick O'Shea and then Ricochet. I'm glad you understand. I how many times have you heard
my
that
gosh.
listening to the old shows?
Probably like 4 or 5 times.
That's crazy. That is a crazy number.
Yeah, I might mix it up a bit with the Discord on Marble Day, but it's. But of course, I've heard it on Discord definitely, and heard you say it a few times. It's a good pun.
All right, well, let's roho roll. There's another pun into our final segment here with the email, and then we'll get out of here for the day. All right, so we got one email this week. A guy Alex, and he sent us first of all he sent us an image with me and Waf, some funny art.
Yeah, some fan art.
We'll throw it up in the Discord. It's really funny. Thank you for sending that. We appreciate those kinds of submissions as well. And he says, Comet fan needs help. That's the subject. All right, so he says, this would be an interesting way to end the episode. He says, I make marble sports. They're pretty bad. He said that. He says, I need help, please. I'll tell you what I do, and you tell me how to improve. All right, fair enough. So we have 6 points to cover. Let's see if we can do it. All right, so number 1, I try not to be a copycat's eye. A little bit of pun there. So he tries not to be a copycat, and I make a non-marble league type thing. It's specifically for racing, not events, and I use plastic tracks like Lead Cookie. Oh, remember back to them a long time ago. And I try to make it as fun as possible, like Fubeck's old races, but I try to be professional. All right, that's number 1. I don't know why he numbered these, but that is a factual thing he just told us. Number 2, as of right now, I just have a blue background for my races. However, I have a printer. I may print some trees or something nice, but I will also get a galaxy background for Christmas. Maybe it'll help. Thoughts? Yeah, spicing it up with the decoration is always helpful. Backgrounds, trees, things like that. That will always help a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's continue here, and then I have like a thing now that's like a couple minutes of like all the things that Good Marble Sports has in it, and I'll do that at the end of this. All right, number 3. I try to show my hands as little as possible. Always a good thing, but it may be impossible considering I do not have a starting gate. It's true. Also, the starting gate for marbles on the plastic track is hand-powered, but I will try to avoid this. Well, maybe you can attach a string to the thing that you would flip up, and that might help, and you can pull on it off camera.
Yeah.
For commentary, I just say what's happening on the screen. Well, that's what it is, but it's a little bit more complex than that, maybe. However, I am 12, so I sound like a dying bird. Well, get older. That's advice for there.
Just wait.
Perhaps I should get an older friend of mine to do it, or no commentary at all, and add some of my music. I would say commentary is always better than music in the context of marble sports. Yeah. If you can get an older friend to do it, do it.
Yeah.
For editing, I use mobile apps such as iMovie and InShot, and sometimes KindMaster. I'm a zero budget, so I cannot buy premium feed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it autocorrected to KindMaster, most likely.
Yeah.
I'm zero budget, so I cannot buy premium features. I feel that since I'm using mobile apps, which are very low quality, I put a lot of effort into editing each one. Well, also, would you mind emailing me or saying what you edit Marble Cross with it? I do not edit Marble Cross. Someone else edits it, and then sends it to me for commentary.
There are better free editing softwares. For instance, I use Shotcut. It's completely free.
And that's on the computer, right?
Yeah, it's on the computer. So you would have to import your videos there. But I mean, like if something you have a computer to use, like Shotcut would definitely be better than like mobile iMovie.
Yeah, and if you have a computer that's very good, like good internet, good computer with a lot of storage, DaVinci Resolve is pretty much as good as any like $500 editor, but it's free. So that's also a good thing. It can get a little laggy, so make sure you save all the time, because I have lost a project because I didn't save. But besides that, DaVinci Resolve is very good. It's free. It's very well made, and has a lot of features. All right, number 6 I use custom-made music for the music. Because of this, it makes the event more dramatic. However, there is this one track that would really bring the mood, and is not copyrighted. Maybe I should use that. And for cheering, what's the volume I should use? Volume for background noise should always be lower than you think, because you want to make sure the main sounds are, of course, hearing the marbles and stuff like that. In my opinion, background noise like cheering is one of those things that you should only be able to really hear if you're listening for it. Not hear when you're just watching the video. Kind of like if you watching JMR every once in a while, if I'll hear the cheering every once in a while and be like, oh, the cheering's happening. But like, when I'm really focusing on the race or focusing on what Greg's saying, I can't really hear it because of course I'm focusing. Same for music. Music goes well very low, almost unhearable, but still a little bit there, like the cheering in the background under commentary. So that can help as well. Overall, after me, I'll let the other two give their opinions. But I'm gonna say, overall, there's always like a base advice I give for making marble sports. There's let me adjust my camera. There you go. There's just base things that need to happen. Number 1, yes, you don't want your hand ever showing up in the video. It's more professional that way. Number 2, you want to, wherever you record, you always want to try to make sure that area is cleared out of as many things as possible, because you may not have the best backdrop, you may not have a completely white background studio, but if you're doing it in your garage or in a room, you want to just make sure there's no dressers or chairs or other random objects just in the room, because then it looks homemade, and you want to make it look as professional as possible. Honestly, for someone just starting out, it might be as simple as just getting a bunch of pieces of white poster board, getting a corner of a room, taping them up so it looks like a white backdrop. There you go. Number 3, for most marble sports, just get a couple cameras, maybe 3. Even if they're not the best quality, that's okay, but it's going to look a lot more professional. Even in mediocre quality camera, if you had them set the cameras up to kind of get different shots, and then when you edit, you'll be able to cut the cameras in good order, the different angles you're getting. You don't want to try to do it one camera. You don't want to, most of the time, unless you have the really, really high tech thing to hold the camera that's shaking, you don't want to deal with trying to hold it steady. It's very difficult. So those are definitely important things to consider. And then the marble sports, besides all that extra stuff, marble sports is good when the events are interesting. So maybe you only have little tracks that like Fubica used to use, stuff like that. But you can make it interesting if you get creative. I mean, maybe you do some events, maybe you do some races, maybe your formatting is so that it focuses on 2 marbles, they go side by side, something like that. You have to try to get creative, maybe build your own tracks or use other objects that you have that might make for some interesting features. There's always ways to kind of get creative with that. So it's very important that you always work on all those things. And then, of course, commentary is very important as well, to bring together the whole sport. So those are my opinions on it. We'll wrap up here after Waf or Victor gives their thoughts.
I think you covered it pretty well. Like, I guess, like, in terms of that question about if they should use that piece of music, if you feel like that piece of music that you found is better than anything your original music for that moment, then by all means use it. Like, cause why not? The better for the quality.
Yeah.
Like, the only tip I can give that's been a bit different from everyone else is try and, for example, of course, the Jealous Marbula runs uses, for example, NASCAR, Formula 1, stuff like that, or not NASCAR, but racing and the Olympics. If you try to do like other sports event, like, I don't know, Tour de France or anything different, that it's definitely something to add on. You can have like Tour de my living room or something like that.
No, yeah. All good things to consider. Marble sports is hard to make. It's not, I won't sugarcoat, it's not easy. But, it's just about improving little bits of your things every time. And, obviously good quality equipment is always going to make it better. I mean, just obviously good cameras and stuff is always going to make it better. But you can do things to make it look pretty good, and not too homey and not too thrown together. With those kinds of tips. So good luck to you on your marble sports making journey, of course. And we're going to wrap up the episode here. Thank you, Victor, for coming on and guessing with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Had fun coming on.
Thanks for having me.
We will have you on some other time. We'll talk more Marbula 1 or whatever marbles are rolling, whatever they're doing at that point. Who knows? Go off. Take us out of the episode. See you guys next week.
All right. Roll on, Marble sports fans.